You're gonna need a bigger boat. What if the most famous shark movie ever made wasn't just a thriller about a seaside nightmare, but a production that nearly collapsed, rewrote Hollywood rules, and hid truths so messy they were quietly buried for decades? Jaws, 1975. Banned secret ending and hidden truth. They Tried to Hide wasn't just a summer blockbuster, it was a survival story. For the cast, for the crew, for the director. Cameras sank, schedules exploded, tempers flared, endings were rewritten, and what audiences saw was only the calm surface hiding chaos underneath. This is the story behind the fins. This is the truth behind the edits. Here are 20 weird facts about Jaws, 1975, including the hidden endings they didn't want you talking about. Stay until the end, because the final revelation changes how that last shot really feels. And if you love uncovering what movies tried to hide, watch closely. Fact number 1. The shark that refused to work. The mechanical shark wasn't temperamental, it was defiant. Nicknamed Bruce, the shark malfunctions almost immediately once filming moves into the open ocean. Saltwater floods its internal systems, hydraulics seize, the mouth locks, entire shooting days collapse before lunch. This wasn't a minor delay, it was catastrophic. The production schedule begins to unravel. Call sheets are rewritten nightly. Crew members wait hours for a creature that never appears. What audiences didn't know is that this failure reshapes the entire movie, not by design, by desperation. Spielberg is forced to hide the shark because he physically cannot show it. It wasn't suspense by plan, it was suspense by survival. And that accident becomes cinema history. Fact number 2. The ocean was never supposed to be the star. Jaws is remembered for its open water terror. That was never the plan. The studio wants controlled tanks, predictable lighting, stable conditions. Spielberg insists on the real ocean. That choice detonates the production. Waves ruin sound. Boats drift into frame. Horizons never match. Sunlight changes between takes. What looks natural on screen is a nightmare behind it. Editors fight continuity. Sound designers rebuild dialogue line by line. Entire scenes are looped later because wind devours the original recordings. It wasn't realism for art. It was realism at a brutal cost. And once the ocean takes control, the film never truly escapes it. Fact number 3. The schedule explodes. The shoot is planned for 55 days. It runs more than twice that. Each delay compounds the next. Equipment rusts, crew fatigue builds, morale thins. Studio executives grow nervous watching costs rise with no end in sight. Spielberg feels the pressure daily. He later admits he believes his career might be over before the film is finished, not after release, during production. This isn't a confident director crafting a masterpiece. It's a young filmmaker trying to outrun disaster. And the longer the shoot stretches, the more Jaws becomes a gamble no one can control. Fact number 4. The town wasn't acting. The seaside community used for filming doesn't feel like a movie set. It feels invaded. Boats are restricted, businesses interrupted, locals recruited as extras grow restless. What audiences didn't know is that real frustration bleeds into the background performances. Faces aren't acting panic, they're exhausted. Crowd scenes take days to organize because tides change everything. People wander out of frame, kids stare at cameras. It wasn't controlled chaos, it was real chaos captured on film. And that authenticity born from irritation and delay gives the movie its unsettling realism. Fact number 5. The score becomes the shark. With the mechanical shark unreliable, something has to replace it. That something is sound. John Williams presents a simple 2-note idea. Spielberg initially laughs, thinking it's a joke. Then he hears it placed against empty water. Suddenly the unseen becomes present. The threat exists without form. What audiences didn't know is that the score is carrying scenes meant for visuals that never worked. Music replaces machinery. Rhythm replaces rubber. It wasn't accompaniment, it was substitution. And that decision changes film language forever. Fact number 6. Actors turn on each other. Life at sea strips patience quickly. The cast lives apart. Filming schedules isolate them. Long waits fuel irritation. Arguments break out over pacing, tone, even blocking. Performers question lines rewritten the night before. What looks like natural tension between characters is sharpened by real fatigue. Personal rhythms clash. Humor turns sharp. Silence stretches longer than planned. It wasn't method acting. It was cabin fever. And the film captures it because the camera never looks away. Fact number 7. The boat was barely afloat. The Orca looks sturdy on screen. It isn't. The boat takes on water repeatedly. Equipment has to be rescued. Crew members scramble as the vessel dips lower than expected. Several shots include real concern hidden beneath performance. Actors grip rails not for drama, but for balance. What audiences didn't know is that the final act is filmed with constant fear of mechanical failure, not from the shark, from the boat itself. It wasn't a prop. It was a liability, and the danger you feel is shared by everyone on board. Fact number 8. Spielberg avoids watching the dailies. Directors usually study dailies obsessively. Spielberg doesn't. He's afraid of what he'll see. The footage arrives incomplete, missing effects, broken continuity, scenes filmed weeks apart stitched together. He worries the movie is falling apart in the edit before it even reaches the edit room. It wasn't confidence driving the production, it was fear, and that anxiety shapes every choice made afterward, especially the ending. Fact number 9. The shark attacks are rebuilt in the edit. Many attack scenes are reimagined long after filming ends. Shots are shortened, angles are removed, reaction shots are inserted where full action was originally planned. What audiences didn't know is that several attacks exist only as implication because the original footage simply doesn't work. The mechanical shark fails at crucial moments, forcing editors to invent danger out of fragments. Limitations become rhythm. Cuts tighten, sound cues arrive earlier, faces replace fins, absence becomes menace. Viewers imagine what the camera never shows, and that imagined threat feels larger than anything rubber could deliver. It isn't what was filmed that creates fear, it's what survives the edit, and the illusion is so complete that no one ever questions what's missing. Fact number 10. The studio nearly interferes. By the midpoint of production, executives are nervous, costs rise, delays stack, confidence wavers. There are quiet conversations about tightening the ending, reducing scale, simplifying the final confrontation. What stops it is momentum. Too much money is already spent to pull back safely, and this is the moment to go ahead and like and subscribe because this movie almost became something smaller, something safer, and lost the ending that defined it. Not because of vision, but because of fear. Jaws survives by refusing to shrink. Fact number 11. The ending wasn't always this ending. Early concepts imagine a very different resolution. The threat ends, but without spectacle, without explosion, without final release. Some versions lean quiet, others feel abrupt. None satisfy. What audiences didn't know is that the final defeat of the shark is a late decision shaped by technical limits and narrative need. It isn't about realism, it's about closure. And closure requires a moment that audiences can breathe through. Fact number 12. Practical effects. Force story. Changes. The shark can't perform complex movements, so the story adapts. Scenes shift. Characters are repositioned. Stakes are raised through dialogue instead of action. The ocean feels wider, emptier, more unforgiving. The wait grows longer, and that delay sharpens the tension. What looks intentional on screen is often reactive behind the camera. Scenes are rewritten around what functions that day, not what was planned months earlier. Camera placement changes, pacing tightens. It isn't precision engineering guiding these choices. It's constant negotiation with failure, and that pressure forces the film to think instead of show. Jaws becomes smarter, leaner, and more terrifying precisely because it has no other option. Fact number 13. Fear moves from the shark to the people. As production struggles, the focus shifts. The monster matters less than the humans facing it. The fear becomes about responsibility, denial, and pride. Town leaders hesitate, experts argue, individuals choose when to act. What audiences didn't know is that this thematic depth emerges because the creature isn't always available. It wasn't a monster movie first, it became a human one, and that's why it endures. Fact number 14. Test screenings change everything. Early screenings reveal something unexpected. Audiences scream, then laugh. Not because it's funny, because it's overwhelming. The reactions are physical. Chairs shake. People lean away from the screen. What the filmmakers realize is that restraint worked better than excess. It wasn't the shark people remembered, it was the waiting, and that discovery locks the final cut. Fact number 15. The ending is edited for silence. Sound drops out strategically near the end. Music pauses, waves dominate, breathing becomes audible. What audiences didn't know is that these silences are calculated. They replace moments where effects couldn't deliver. It wasn't emptiness, it was tension sharpened. And silence becomes as powerful as sound. Fact number 16. The final battle is shot out of order. The climax isn't filmed sequentially. Shots are captured whenever conditions allow. Performances have to match emotions not yet played or already exhausted. What looks like a smooth escalation is a mosaic assembled later. It wasn't a single showdown. It was fragments stitched together. And the illusion holds. Fact number 17. The explosion is symbolic, not realistic. The final defeat isn't about physics, it's about release. The explosion represents everything held back for 2 hours. Fear, waiting, denial. What audiences didn't know is that realism is sacrificed intentionally. The moment needs to feel final, not accurate. It wasn't about how it would happen, it was about how it should feel. And that choice defines the ending's power. Fact number 18. Spielberg almost changed the last shot. There's debate about how long to linger afterward. Should relief last? Should danger echo? Several cuts are tested. Some feel too neat, others too abrupt. What survives is balance. It wasn't celebration. It was exhaustion turning into quiet relief, and that tone seals the film's legacy. Fact number 19. The ending redefines blockbusters. Jaws proves something new. Audiences want release, but earned. The final moments combine spectacle, character payoff, and emotional closure. Studios take notes. Summer movies change forever. What audiences didn't know is that this ending becomes a blueprint copied endlessly. It wasn't just a conclusion, it was a template, and Hollywood follows it for decades. Fact number 20. The ending. They hid was the struggle itself. The real secret ending isn't on screen. It's everything that almost prevented that final shot from existing at all. A broken shark, a sinking boat, a collapsing schedule, a young director under crushing pressure. What audiences see is triumph. What they didn't see is survival. Not the sharks, the movies. And that makes the ending more powerful than any alternate version ever could. Jaws didn't just change how movies scare us, it changed how movies are made. If you want more stories about films that survived chaos to become legends, stay close. Because sometimes the most terrifying thing isn't the monster, it's what it takes to finish the movie.